Oh yeah. Time for the pop that don't stop. Oh God, I did not mean to hit that camera. Let's get back over here. That way we're not fucking things up either. Let's see. Bring myself up. Yeah. Yo, this is the dance pop song that it goes really wrong. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you don't know what's going on. Yeah, do. Oh yeah, I wanted to. Stand by. I just gotta find it. It's here somewhere, Dennis. There it is. All right. Okay. There we go. Now, I think we're ready to go, kids. Like the camera isn't going to be centered, so when that happens, I don't want to hear any complaining, because if I hear complaining, I'll quit the show. All right. T. Walter. Funk. Or, I'm sorry, swag on. All right. Let us commence.
Bryce, so why you look so down?
Man, my Saturday night plans just got ruined. I don't know what to do now.
You know what? I think I can fix that.
How?
You should come to Watch Party on Saturday night at 10:30. It's free.
Free?
I just fucking said that, dude. God damn.
Watch Party for educational purposes.
Honey, I'm home from work.
Oh, I have to tell you about something Jimmy told me about at the playground.
Little Jimmy?
Yeah, little Jimmy. He told me about this thing called Watch Party.
Oh no, they were talking about that at the water cooler
I'm
today.
so worried. What have you heard about it?
Well, I heard that it was a lot of like-minded people showing up to watch educational video.
No, I heard they have snacks.
Free snacks and drinks is what I heard as well.
That's how they get you. And you know what? I'm sure it's gonna be expensive.
Actually, I heard it was free.
I heard free is a gateway drug.
You know what? This watch party thing doesn't sound so bad.
No, not another one.
Watch Party for educational purposes.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Hi. Hello and welcome back to another week of Popcorn Poppin' Live. It was a big weekend, I'm sure you all know. We're already 6 minutes in, so let's go ahead and get started with the show right about now. Welcome back to Popcorn Poppin' Live, your weekly movie, TV, and streaming guide. There's too much content in the world, and you can't be wasting your time. So let me waste my time for you by watching all that looks vaguely interesting and advising you on what's poppin' and what ain't, and what size of poppin' should it be. Well, let's start with our only Limelight show this week. The DeCameron? Is it Cameron? I think it's the rapper Cameron. He got his own show, and it has a D in front of it. No, JK, it's actually set in 1348 during the Black Plague. The deadliest pandemic in human history explores the timely themes of class, systems, power struggles, and survival in a time of pandemic. Sound familiar besides the 1348 bit? Well, it is a little bit familiar. So overall, I think this show is popping. I've only watched 2 episodes, but it's actually an excellent background show. It's real silly. It kind of reminds me of The Favorites by Yorgos or The Greats, which was written by, I think, Julian Fellows, who did Downton Abbey and The Favorite. I'm probably wrong, but whoever wrote The Favorite wrote that Hulu show The Great with Elle Fanning and the Beast Boy from X-Men First Class. I can't remember. Nicholas Hoult. So that's a great show. If you like that show or The Favorite with Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone and Olivia Colman, you will definitely dig this. It's a little, it's more silly for sure. I think when shit gets real, it's not that real. I don't think anyways. Like you think this whole thing's about a murder and then it's not. Slight spoiler alert. It's a very, very silly show. I'm not giving anything away. But I do like the main plot of the show. It's about someone who's assuming the identity of someone else, someone who was in poor class, trying to act like they're upper class, or are they acting? Maybe they deserve to be that form of upper class. Maybe they deserve all the perks that come along with it. And maybe class struggle is a real thing that we should all be aware of, no matter what time it is of the day, of the month, or which year it is. So I give the DeCameron poppin' score of medium. I think when I finish the season, it'll be a large popcorn, but it's a medium popcorn. Yeah. And there's not really any negatives to speak on. I think when I finish the show, I could maybe have some negatives to share with you, but I don't really have any. Also, Tony Hale is in this. He's the most recognizable guy in this. All right, let's move on to our main event. I think you all know what came out this weekend. Something big, something huge. Say it with me now. DeadPool and Wolverine hit theaters this weekend. It's what everyone's talking about. It's what you all see and what you all can't escape. Whether you saw it or whether you didn't, it's what everyone's talking about. If you don't know what DeadPool and Wolverine's about, it is the 3rd DeadPool movie in the DeadPool trilogy, and it's the 17,000th MCU film that's been MCUing. And Ewan McGregor ain't in it, but a lot of other people are. This movie has lots of cameos and lots of fun. One of the main cameos is Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Would you call it a cameo? I'd call it a cameo for the first half of the film because he didn't talk much. He didn't have much lines. He was mostly just grunting and wincing and being angry, but he eventually was more three-dimensional. Allow me to explain. Don't worry, I give this a Poppin rating, but I'm going to deep dive into why it's not a 100% score, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, even though I hate that score. So let's start with some basics. The opening scene in general is fucking great. Every Deadpool movie has always started in the middle and then went back in time and then leads up to that middle again. They don't do much of that in this. They show a very fun opening scene of him explaining to the audience, like, how are we going to get Wolverine? I know what you're asking yourselves. How are we going to get Wolverine? And I know what you're thinking. We're finally in the MCU officially. How great is that? So it is a lot of fun, and how he does it is fucking stupendous. It's hilarious. It's violent, gratuitous, and very, very fun. It's probably, honestly, might be my favorite scene of the entire film. Not that the rest of it goes downhill. It's just really fucking dope. So the opening scene in general was dope. Just in case you're concerned, we're not going to go over any spoilers. I may say some things that the plot involves and may mention some other MCU projects that this is similar to, but I'm not going to tell you the cameos. I'm not going to tell you what the ending is. I'm not going to tell you the main plot of the film. I'm not going to tell you specifics on where people are at. I'm just going to vaguely give you little hints at what's going on in the film. And if you've seen it, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about and be able to be like, oh, so you did like that. Oh, so you didn't. There will be, technically there already is, a spoiler-filled video that I will be releasing on the Jermaine Higgins Presents YouTube page that you can go to. Not right after this. You're probably going to have to wait a few days, but you'll be getting that this week where I go into more detail. Until then, let's go into a non-spoiler territory. This film does have Loki connections. It's got MCU connections, all right? Specifically Loki. It's as if the studio knew how much the audience really fucking loved Loki, and they're like, hey, let's put as much Loki shit into this as possible. Most of the things I'm going to complain about is basically a guideline of Disney things that Ryan Reynolds was forced to do. Maybe not forced. Who knows? I might be wrong. But it seemed like he was forced to include all this Loki shit, because there's a lot of Loki shit in here. Specifically with the film's villain and its setting. Now, speaking of setting, I won't tell you exactly where this is set at, but I will tell you that it's an apocalyptic wasteland. Granted, a film like this should have a lot of similarities with Loki, because Loki is about going into different timelines. We're in the multiverse saga. We know the type of person DeadPool is. Of course, it would take place in a very heavy Loki setting. This is kind of a finality movie. At least you think so. I won't give away too much, but it seemed like, for the most part, a final movie. It seemed like a trilogy movie. And when it comes to action, in general, but superhero action, there's usually an apocalyptic wasteland of sorts. In Endgame, it was apocalyptic for that third act. In other things, I'm telling you the truth. The point is, when it comes to something that's this big, where you're like, where's it going to be set at? It's usually amongst nothingness. That way, all we can have is our main characters and all of the cool adventures that they're on. So having said that, I wish that the setting was in multiple spots a little more. I wish they had gone all over the place a lot more. I think that would have been a lot more fun of an adventure film, but most of it takes place in this sort of wasteland that I'm speaking of. Now, it is very similar to Mad Max. They lean into it and they say it's very Mad Maxian, And they even make a Furiosa reference that's fucking hilarious. Don't get me wrong. And just like I said earlier, all of these rules that Disney has, I think that Ryan Reynolds had a perfect reason to do all of it. Ryan Reynolds and co, we'll say, because it's not just him, even though it's very obvious that he's the head guy. So, for instance, this needs to be set here. Okay, well, I can make sure that that's not too ridiculous by leaning into the ridiculousness of it. All these MCU tropes that happens in usual movies, we have to put this in. Okay, when it's shown here, here, and here, I will tell the audience, hey, MCU does this all the time. When the movie gets a little long, he says, promise, folks, we're in the home stretch. Because it is kind of a long movie. I actually don't know the runtime. Let's check it out real quick. It didn't feel too long, but I'll tell you my theater's reaction here in a second. 2 hours and 7 minutes. It's probably the longest amongst all the Deadpools. In any case, it wasn't too long necessarily. Although I didn't enjoy how many... It kind of seemed like there were 3 different endings in a way. I didn't dig that. Anyways, let's talk about Wolverine by himself. Actually, no, let's talk about Deadpool by himself first. Deadpool is not just fun. He's going through something that's shown in a non-serious way, but it is kind of like an organic thing for the character to go through. Ryan Reynolds really struggled with finding out what he wanted to do for film 2, and that was taking away something that Deadpool loves. In this, it's about him trying to be a hero and save his friends, even if that means he has to join the MCU, and even if that means he has to do something not good, but also good. I don't want to give away too much. Anyways, so we got that going for little Deadpool, and even though it's full of him quipping and having fun, he does have a 3-dimensional story. That's the point of that. Wolverine, it's not giving anything away when I tell you that they wanted to make sure that they didn't ruin Logan's legacy, and that is the film Logan and how they ended Wolverine's story. This is the multiverse saga, and Deadpool and Wolverine's part of that. So much so that we're getting a different Wolverine, not the Wolverine that you and I know. Is a different Wolverine, but one that is extremely close. I won't tell you what kind of Wolverine this is, except he's going through a depression. He feels like a loser, and everyone's telling Deadpool that he has the worst Wolverine. Is it true? Well, he does have basically 0 dialogue until halfway in the film. We're in a Honda Odyssey. When that scene happens, it's really fucking good. Actually, when they're on the cliff and he tells him, hey, shut up, I'm going to try to figure this out. That's when it's like, okay, I'm done sleeping. I need to figure out how to get myself out of this situation that you put me into, Deadpool. And then there is a Honda scene where Wolverine yells at Deadpool and he hits the roof doing it. And my God, you forget how great of an actor Hugh Jackman is until you see him angry. And not only that, he does good in musical scenes and being happy and being funny, or just wincing and grunting as well. But that was a really good, wow, man, he should win an award for this scene type acting. So he doesn't pull punches in this. Not only did he work on his physique, but he doesn't really have to work on his acting skills. He's always been great. But he keeps his acting tools sharp in this film, even though it's a fuck ton of that. He acts still very good in this. Now, the buddy aspect between the two is perfect. There's really nothing else to say. Definitely nothing negative to say about it. Excellent odd couple pairing. I wish that there was more of a back and forth with them throughout the film, but specifically with the first half, because like I said, Wolverine doesn't say much. But they do it a lot in the middle. I think towards the end, it is back to just mostly Wolverine just shaking his head or just staring at Deadpool. I wish there was a little bit more back and forth. Now, keep in mind, all of these weird little nitpicky things that I'm saying are very, very minor in the grand scheme of things, because the film is fucking awesome. It is fantastic, all of that. But since I'm a critic, an unprofessional critic, a person with a camera that has internet connection that can somehow maintain sanity and a weekly schedule, even though I'm off par a lot of times. I have to be nitpicky. So, anyways, I wish that there was more of a back and forth. That's about it. Otherwise, A1. And also, their press that they do for this film is just as good as the movie. Don't believe me? Watch the Hot Ones episode alone, and then just scroll along YouTube and see all of these different videos and interviews that they've been a part of. My God, I wonder what was more tiring, the press junket or working out for the film, because both of them seem equal in when it comes to exercising a good mood. Dog pool. It was funny because my Josh said, that's the ugliest dog I've ever seen. Apparently this dog in real life won like the ugliest dog in like Wisconsin or some shit. What did I feel about dog pool? Well, I don't hate dogs, but it was very Disney how much they included dog pool. And there's a lot of slow motion scenes that I think I've discussed before, where DeadPool 1 and 2 has a lot of slow motion scenes that you can tell they find hilarious. I don't think, like, Planet Ant does it a lot, where if you just do one thing for a very long time over and over and over and over again for a long scene, you'll do it until it's not funny, and then it's funny again. I don't think it's that funny to do that much. There's a lot of dog pool licking DeadPool. It's hilarious. No complaints, except it was very Disney of them to include how much dog pool that they actually included. The fight scenes, A1, zero complaints, way better than I thought that they were going to be. Oh man, I want to say one scene, but I'm not going to. Watch the spoiler version of this video. The fight scenes were awesome. They were fucking dope. You get, I think, at least 2 scenes of DeadPool fighting Wolverine. And the second one is in a Honda Odyssey, and it's a sex scene. It's not a fight scene. It's a sex scene. 1000%. But both of them are they're fucking badass. Neither of them have lost their groove. They don't need to hit up Stella to figure out how to get it back. Great job. Cameos. Now, I'm going to give a little hints at cameos. You won't be able to figure it out if you haven't watched the film, but people that have watched the film will be able to tell the little hints I'm going to give. So, the retired line, the person that's retired, that scene was so fucking funny. It was the funniest scene of the movie, besides the opening. I laughed really hard when someone misheard the word retired. My theater was... they didn't find it funny, and I think the reason they didn't find it funny is because they thought it was a little insensitive. Wrong. It wasn't insensitive. It was amazing. There's a girl hero cameo that was awesome. However, she didn't get a badass fighting scene. I was a little pissed off about that. And the other girl cameo that was pretty important to someone's life, that's part of the team of cameos that I mentioned. She could have been used a little more, but she still had a badass scene versing another version of a villain. And the dialect coach needing cameo was funny as well. Now, that is all of the cameos that I mentioned are part of a little team that DeadPool and Wolverine like recruit, because DeadPool always recruits a team in all of his films, which I think is kind of fun. And this team is very reminiscent to Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange 2. It is basically the correct way to do that cameo scene, and it's been long enough, I can tell you that cameo involved Peggy Carter, Professor Xavier, John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, Lashana Lynch as Captain Marvel, and I think I'm missing one more. In any case, this was that, but a better version of. And if it wasn't for Multiverse of Madness, I would have enjoyed this cameo more. However, I still enjoy this cameo more because not only are they badass and they don't die right away, they actually have a reason to be there. And it's because... no, I can't say that. All right, I won't say that. There was another cameo that I liked, and that involved DeadPool saying, he's going to say the line, and they trick you, And that was the part that I clapped at really, really hard. All right. Basic storyline is nice for Deadpool to want to become a better person and a true hero. Now, poppin' or not, just to wrap this up, it is poppin' for sure. Go see this in theaters. Fuck whatever negative things I'm about to say. The positive thing I'm going to tell you is it is a positive rating. It is a large popcorn. It's just not buttery. It is the best Deadpool film. I will say that. It's just hard for me. If it was self-contained and not comparable to the MCU or any previous film, I'd give it a large buttery corn. But knowing me, I can't. I can't help but compare this to the rest of the MCU. For one, what is happening in the film, you have to think of where the MCU is right now and how they're dealing with it in this film. Yeah, you can poke fun at it, but it's still a lot of the same nostalgia. And with that, while you're watching the film, you're visibly smelling Disney's desperation. That sounds like a hardcore negative thing about the film, but it's all understandable under the guise of this is Deadpool's MCU wet snuff film. It is. So the scene where he says goodbye to someone with a mask towards the end of the film, awesome mask, by the way, on a little too much, and it would have been on even way too much longer if it wasn't for the fact of what that goodbye entailed. And it being, well, yeah, of course the mask is on because Deadpool is having a wet dream of this person telling him this thing. So it all made sense. It just, we're seeing a lot of the same thing. Having said that, it is still a very fun film that you should take the entire family to go see. I don't care that it's R-rated. It made $444 million worldwide at the box office. It is already the highest grossing R-rated film behind Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2. Or highest opening, should I say. I looked it up earlier, and the biggest R-rated film worldwide with over $1 billion was Joker. I did not know Joker made over $1 billion. No wonder they made a second one. So this film is popping. You definitely should go see it. Try to go into it without thinking about anything I just said. Just go into it thinking, there's not too much nostalgia in here. It's a lot of nostalgia, and there's nothing wrong with nostalgia unless you don't move forward. The last thing I'll say is the only thing that I liked about this film is that it's a perfect time for you to, yes, shut the door. It's shutting the door. The mid-credit scene is a goodbye and thank you so much. Let's open doors and walk through them and see what's in the room. Don't give me the Eternals where you open a door, let me peek in for 3 hours, and then leave with the door open and never returning again. Don't show me Moon Knight and never show him again. Don't show Thanos' brother and never show him again. There's so many things and stuff that they've and people that they've introduced and just haven't mentioned for the past 10 years. So stop with the nostalgia shit and let's move forward. We got new characters. Let's stop making them new. Let's get to know them. Anyways, this film is popping. You should go see it in theaters right now. Which brings us on to our next subject. I wanted to talk about all of the non-MCU Marvel films. Now, what does that entail? That does not only entail Fox films. This entails, it might only be Fox when you look at the long list, but you get it. It are films that are not in the MCU saga, not part of the Infinity Saga, but were kind of introduced. Like, you know how Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire wasn't in the MCU until eventually it was when Tobey Maguire returned for Spider-Man No Way Home? It's kind of like that. These films that I'm going to mention may have been part of the MCU technically, but they weren't made by the same studio with Kevin Feige's involvement. Some are, but I'm going to mention them as if they aren't for specific reasons, which we'll go over later. We're going to do this in chronological order of when they appeared. We're not going to start with the Fantastic Four in the 80s or 70s or whatever. We're just going to start with Howard the Duck. Remember Howard the Duck? This came out in Sorry about that. 1986. It is popping because it's ridiculous, but if you're looking for a superhero good film, this is not for you. You can rent it right now if you'd like. Blade 98, the best superhero movie of all time. I'd call this an anti-hero film, whatever. This was made in 1998. You can rent it right now. I own this movie on DVD. I wish I owned it on Blu-ray, and I do own it through streaming as well. It's the best, man. You can't fuck with the OG. X-Men, another classic superhero film that was not my favorite amongst the X-Men films, but was still a solid, awesome team-up film. Definitely following Wolverine the most, but introduced an array of characters in really cool ways with great writing and excellent cinematography as well. You can watch this on Disney Plus. Spider-Man 2, which came out in 2002, you can watch on Disney Plus. But this is Spider-Man, not Spider-Man 2. I guess I forgot to write it down. My bad. I think you can watch this on Disney Plus, but Spider-Man is probably the first safe superhero film. X-Men was too, but this had the campy vibe and still fun. X-Men was a lot more dark than Spider-Man. This one hit the more fun way that I think that James Gunn is going to go for. Daredevil. I don't think this is in the right order at all. Interesting. I don't know how this is going to go. No, I just didn't have Blade 2 on here. So Blade 2, I love probably as much as Blade 1, even though Blade 1's the better film. Blade 2 is amazing. You can rent that right now. I love that movie, directed by Guillermo del Toro. Someone talked shit on this on PopCorn Poppin before. Fuck you. It was Jordan. I love you, Jordan, but fuck you. Blade 2 was awesome. Yes, there was bad CGI in a few scenes, but it was a spectacular film. Now, moving on. Daredevil came out in 2003. I thought it was fun. Definitely campy. Definitely ridiculous. And I like Ben Affleck, truthfully. But this is the first. It was interesting because Jon Favreau was in this, and he went on to start the MCU with Iron Man. A little friendly fact for you. I like this movie a lot. Colin Farrell was wild in it. Bullseye. That's him throwing his coat over. I had a lot of fun with this. You can check it out on Disney Plus right now. X2, my favorite X-Men film. Oh, no. I lied. This isn't my favorite. This is my third favorite X-Men film. No, this is my favorite X-Men film. This isn't my favorite Wolverine film. I covered that nicely. You can check out X2 on Disney Plus. Hulk, remember that one? It was okay. Wasn't that great. Eric Bana, where you been? You can check this out on Netflix. It came out in 2003. In 2004, we had Punisher, the original Punisher with Thomas Jane. A lot more dark, and it kind of seemed almost independent in a way. Even though I like Thomas Jane a lot, the show did it really, really well. Did Punisher extremely well. Daredevil season 2 was it season 2? Whatever season. Did Punisher really, really well. So John Barenthal still is my favorite Punisher, but Thomas Jane was super dope as well. You can rent this. Spider-Man 2. One of my favorite movies ever, honestly. Definitely one of my favorite superhero movies, but one of my favorite films, something I would put on, which I need to remind myself, I have to make, someone remind me, make a perfect film list, because I consider this a perfect film. Sam Raimi introduced a lot of horror elements, like the first Doc Ock legs scene, and a scene of the girl screaming in the camera. Like, he did a lot of cool, old Hollywood tricks to really tell a good story. Even, it's a great Peter Parker story for one, and it's a even better Spider-Man story as well. So, without the action, the drama that Peter Parker's enduring is really, really, really well done, well told. So, I love Spider-Man 2. You can check us out on Disney Plus or Netflix. Blade Trinity, it was all right. It could have been worse. If you don't know the tale of Wesley Snipes and how terrible it was to film this movie with him, check out Patton Oswalt's interview talking about how, you know what? Yeah. And I realized something, but I'm not going to say it. One thing I did realize is Ryan Reynolds is in this as Hannibal something. So DeadPool wasn't the first, Green Lantern wasn't the first superhero he was. You can check. Jessica Biel was great in this too. You can check this. Great in this, but it wasn't a great movie. It's the least best Blade movie for sure. But it's not the worst movie in the world. People say it's a bad film, and it does have bad parts in it, but I don't think it was a bad film. It was fun. You can watch this on Prime. It's funny. You can rent Blade 1 and 2, but when it comes to the one that no one wants to watch, you can watch it on Prime. I remember enjoying everything about Elektra except for the little girl in this. She was so fucking annoying. But Jennifer Garner whooped ass in this. And I think this is the first spin-off superhero film. So props to Jennifer Garner on that. Alias. Alias kicks ass. You can check this out on Max. Came out in 2005. Also in 2005 was the first Fantastic Four. I liked it. I thought it was fun. I'm excited. I'm skeptical of the new one. I think I'm going to like this one more still. You can check this out on Disney+. The following year in 2006 was X3 The Last Stand. We've talked about this. I rewatched all the X-Men. Did I tell you guys this? I think I did. I watched all the X-Men stuff. No, I didn't tell you this because I didn't finish it all. All right. I watched the X-Men animated series. I didn't watch X-Men Evolution. That would have been a little crazy. I watched X-Men 97. I watched X-Men's, the Wolverines, the X-Men First Class crew. Like, I watched all of them. It was a lot. But it was super dope. Now, I can tell you with certainty that I did not like this movie the first time I watched it. I hated it even more the second time I watched it. It's a bad movie. This is the first film that Bryan Singer didn't direct in the X-Men trilogy or the X-Men saga, and it shows. Brett Ratner stepped in, and even though I praise his directing style when it comes to Rush Hour and Red Dragon, two very different types of films, he missed the mark on this. And I'm sure that the studio was heavily involved, but it's not good. I did not like this movie. But you can watch it and judge for yourself on Disney+. Ghost Rider came out in 2007 with Nicolas Cage and Eva Mendes. Eva Mendes was the best part of this movie. I did not like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. You can watch this by renting it, but don't do it. Spider-Man 3. Yeah, it's not very good. Venom was fucking terrible. Venom was worse in this than emo Toby. You can check this out on Disney+. Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. I am going to rewatch these soon. I remember not hating this as much as everyone else, but I do remember it being significantly worse than the first. But you can check this out on Disney+. The Incredible Hulk. Granted, this does count as the part of the Infinity Saga. However, it's barely mentioned besides it will be mentioned heavily in Captain America New World Order, but it was barely mentioned besides Jebediah, William Hurt, and Iron Man showing up in the mid or end credits scene. You can check this out on Disney+. Punisher Warzone. A lot of people forgot about this, but it was actually a decent Punisher movie. R-rated, hard R. The first Punisher was hard R too, but this is hard R, and very comic booky. Probably the most comic booky, not the most, one of the most comic booky dark films you'll watch. And you can watch it right now by renting it. It came out in 2008. In 2009 was X-Men Origins X-Men Origins Wolverine. I used to hate this movie, but comparing it to 3 this go around, it's fucking amazing. Not a great film, but it's not the worst. It's honestly not the worst. I didn't love it. My favorite aspect of it certainly still is him and Sabretooth being played by Liev Schreiber, which, by the way, I didn't tell you the other things I didn't like about Deadpool and Wolverine. These are not spoilers. This is what you're not going to see. You're not going to see Cable. He's mentioned, but you don't see him. And I was okay with that because they mentioned him, even though they didn't mention what he was doing right now. That was kind of annoying. There is no Domino. I hated that. There's no mention of Domino. I really hated that. And I didn't like that Liev Schreiber didn't make a return because he was my favorite part of X-Men Origins Wolverine, which you can watch on Disney Plus right now. X-Men First Class, super fun, really good revitalization of the X-Men IP. and you can watch this on Disney Plus right now. This was my favorite of the new crew. Do I like Days of Future Past more than this? I'm not sure. I think I like this one more, honestly. No, I like Days of Future Past more. Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. Awesome! It was directed by the guys that did Crank and Crank 2 and Gamer. And I think they did one other movie. But I loved this movie. I thought it was super fun and super crazy. They really leaned into Nicolas Cage's crazy in this. Amazing Spider-Man, which you can watch on Disney Plus right now, came out in 2012 with Andrew Garfield. I loved it. Not as much as Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 1, but I definitely liked it more than Spider-Man 3. The Wolverine. I might like this more than Logan. I love this movie so much. I love the samurai aspect, the pacing, the storytelling. James Mangold hit a home run with this film. Amazing Spider-Man 2. I liked it more than Spider-Man 3. X-Men Days of Future Past. I love this movie. It's just a little boring. There's a lot of dialogue in it. But it is honestly, it's one of the best films ever made because it mixes two casts of the same saga into one film and still make it make sense as best as they can anyway. I'm sure if a time traveler showed up and watched this film, which technically he would have if he was a time traveler, he would poke a lot of holes in it, but you can't really, it's hard to. I think they do a really good job with this film. Really, really cool way to bring the old cast and new cast together. And even though Wolverine is definitely used as a tool in this, and that is to get butts and seats, he's still a lot of fun in it too. All right, next. This is the worst out of this whole list. This is worse than X-Men Origins Wolverine, worse than Spider-Man 3. This is a really, really bad movie. Fantastic Four. Came out in 2015 on Max. Oh man, it was so bad. I feel bad for the entire. It's a great cast too, but it's a bad movie, guys. Real bad, terrible. Bad. Don't rent it. Don't watch it on Max. Deadpool. My least favorite Deadpool film. Yeah, sure, we got what we wanted, but all you really gotta do is watch the trailer. And I'm not saying it as a slight, but people worship this fucking movie, and I love Ryan Reynolds. This is like at the time, one of the most Ryan Reynolds-y movies you'll ever see. But it wasn't my favorite Ryan Reynolds movie. Like, I like Just Friends and Van Wilder way more than this movie. But what it does with superhero films is iconic and blah, 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 blah. I'm just saying, I don't think this movie was like that great. It's hilarious and it's a good, well-made film. But that's me being a hater. Since it's so universally loved, I have to highlight how not the best movie in the world it truly is, even though it is a really, really good movie. Just not that great. X-Men Apocalypse. I like this more the second. No, I just didn't like this movie. I really didn't like it. I didn't like it. You can check us out on Disney Plus. Logan, super fucking dope. One of the best endings for any character ever. Very dark. The only reason I'm going to say I like the Wolverine more. As a self-contained film, you can watch this movie and not compare it to other Wolverine movies. That's one thing that this movie has going for it that Deadpool and Wolverine doesn't have going for it. Logan will always be the best film probably ever made in the MCU X-Men superhero franchise. Like, it's probably the best film. But when you compare it to the others, what I personally enjoy more, I really enjoy the Wolverine more. And also, this is what would be the opposite of Origin. This is an excellent Endorigin. Endorigin? Yeah, it's got to be Endorigin. That sounds right. Excellent. Deadpool 2, loved it. Basically, zero complaints. I love this movie. This movie deserved its praise a lot more. Is it because Zazie Beetz? It might be. It might be. I love this movie. Rewatching this was a delight. I thought I watched it several times. I think I only watched it twice before my last viewing. And I did watch Deadpool 1 a bunch, so that might be another reason why I'm like, this movie's way better, because I only watched it a few times, but oh man, it's so funny. So funny. Disney Plus. Venom. Not a well-made movie, or a fun movie. It's just not like, it's not a good movie per se, but it is fun. It's exactly the type of fun you need. It's not artsy. It's just fun. Dark Phoenix. I liked it more the second go around. I really did. I thought the opening was really good. I think the main storyline does it really well. Basically, when they get back to Earth is where everything went downhill for me. But it wasn't as bad as the first time I watched it. The weird aliens that were made up for the film that were definitely supposed to be She-Ra or the She-Lie. I can't remember what that was. I don't want to get into nerdy shit. We got to move on. The New Mutants, not as bad as everything else, but not as great either. I wish they would have done more of the horror-leaning thing that they wanted to originally do. Anya Taylor-Joy was good. Honestly, the whole cast was pretty good. But, you know, didn't land. Anya Taylor-Joy's character is a fucking OG. OP. My main issue with it was the giant bear at the end. They verse a giant bear, and it's like it reminded me of Brave. And the reason I didn't like Brave was, this movie's about her mom turning into a bear and her trying to turn her back. I thought this was about Nat Badass Archer. She was still a badass, but I didn't really care for the mama bear bit. Next, Venom 2. I'm excited for 3. 2 was funnier and more fun than 1, but it is a worse movie than 1. Does that make sense? It's more fun at the expense of being a bad movie. Morbius, I didn't watch. This. This is the only film of this list I haven't seen. Crazy, right? And finally, Madam Web. You know what? Even though this is probably the worst movie in the list, I still hate X-Men 3 more than this movie. I hate X-Men 3. It's so bad. This movie's a lot more tolerable. I love this movie. I like this movie more than X-Men Apocalypse as well. Way more. Are you kidding? It's because it's fun. It's such a fun train wreck. So fun. Anyways. All right, now we're on to some news. And we'll go through this pretty quick. I know. Definitely been talking a little too much. So the biggest news of the weekend, everyone's talking about it. RDJ is Dr. Doom. How does this guy feel about it? I know I said on this show that I would be furious if they brought Robert Downey Jr. back as Tony Stark. Let the character died, leave him alone. Rumors swirled. I mentioned last week that the Russos were going to show up to Comic-Con. We just didn't know why. The speculation was that they were going to be, I thought that they were going to be credited as executive producers on the next 10 films. But it turns out not only are the Russos directing the next 2 Avengers films, but Robert Downey Jr. will be Dr. Doom in those films. I was very excited. I thought it was fake at first, but I was very excited because I did not see this coming. I did not. I saw it coming that RDJ was going to come back. I didn't want it. And if I ever get famous and I get haters and they want to make clips of he contradicted himself. No, I didn't. For a while there, I said, no, they're not going to bring RDJ back. No, they're not going to. He's not going to do it. Then I said on the show that I was proved wrong because he had an interview where he said, oh yeah, I'd love to come back. I was pissed too. In this fashion, very excited. Why? Because we see him play a new character, except I had a discussion earlier today and I'm like, I don't know how excited I am for this anymore. I'm still excited, but I am So how it was brought up to me earlier is it's probably going to be Tony Stark from, I think, the Fantastic Four. And in fact, I think that everything's really going to kickstart in Fantastic Four. And I think Dr. Doom. We're going to see RDJ in that film. And it will probably be an end credit scene. It'll probably be the new Thanos. He's going to be the new Thanos, which I think is cool. That's so fucking cool to have Robert Downey Jr. do that. But I thought of him just as Dr. Doom. I didn't think about him being Tony Stark, being Dr. Doom. Like, our world, our Thor is going to see Dr. Doom and be like, Tony? He's going to be like, what are you talking about? I'm not Tony. And it's like, oh, okay. So they're going to do that, and that's going to annoy me. But one big rumor is that he's not the real Dr. Doom, that at the end of Doomsday, he'll be defeated, and it turns out, oh no, this was their Dr. Doom, but who's our Dr. Doom? And then that's when we're going to see Julian McMahon. That's not the rumor, but the rumor is that Robert Downey Jr. is not going to be the prime Dr. Doom, that it's a ruse. I hope that's not true. If you're going to do it, fucking do it. All right. I'm getting tired of this pussyfooting around. I'm getting tired of seeing the X-Men. I'm getting tired of seeing Kelsey Grammer as Beast, Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier. Just give us our new X-Men. If you're going to reboot it. Don't fucking, anyways, I'm overall excited for this. It's just, don't half-ass it. Go all the way. And it is even more of an indication of desperation. You have to bring him back. You have to bring back the directors too. It's safe. Don't get me wrong. It's safe. And no matter how bad the MCU is going to be from now on, everyone's going to go see these movies. This just solidified their money. 100%. And I think Robert Downey Jr. never had to work again before. You know how much he was making before? I don't have the numbers right now, but it's a lot. He made a percentage of those movies. A percentage. It's got to be doubled for whatever he's appearing in next. So, good work. Good work, RDJ. All right. Fantastic. Other news. Fantastic Four's new titles. Fantastic Four First Steps. I was kind of excited, but I don't want to see the origin story of the Fantastic Four. I hope when we see their first steps, it's like through a quick montage or it's like 10 minutes of the movie. I want the most of the movie to be them already the established Fantastic Four. I'm just tired of like how it all began films. You know why? Because MCU shows us how it all began for several characters and never returns to them ever again. Next. Rebecca Ferguson will be in the Peaky Blinders movie. Sharon Stone, hopefully, will be the villain, but will be in Nobody 2 with Bob Odenkirk. Mark Hamill is going to voice the Flying Dutchman in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, The Search for SquarePants. Todd McFarlane is heavily involved in the new Spawn film, which they don't know that if the final title will be King Spawn, but for now it will be called King Spawn. I've reported several times. By the way, sources are all from Deadline, Variety, and Hollywood Reporter. Thank you, guys. I know that I've reported before that Jamie Foxx is supposed to be Spawn, but I don't know what's going on with that. I haven't heard anything abandoned. But maybe since Jamie Foxx's weird health scare, they said that he's not in it anymore. So maybe that's what's going on. But anyways, King Spawn, it's like the first step of moving forward that we've heard in a long time when it comes to Spawn movie. I Am Legend 2. I Am Legend, the first one was directed by Francis Lawrence, who did Constantine, who's going to do Constantine 2. He also did Hunger Games 2, 3, and 4. And he did one other movie. I can't remember what it was. He isn't doing I Am Legend 2. Stephen Capel? Capable? Is he capable? Stephen Capel Jr., who did, I want to say he directed Creed 2. Yeah, he directed Creed 2, and he directed Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Is that true? Wow. You know what? All right. I'm a little more excited even. I liked Creed 2 a lot, even though I like Creed 3 more, and Creed 1, obviously. But, wow, okay. He also co-wrote Creed. Anyways, he's being circled to direct I Am Legend 2, which is supposed to have Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan. Next. Fall Guy, the extended cut, will hit Peacock on August 30th. I'm a little excited because I remember telling you guys that I felt like they could have done a little more with this, and I think we're going to see a little more of that on Peacock August 30th. Very excited to report that Shaun of the Dead is going to be re-released in Dolby for their 20th anniversary. And I never saw this movie in theaters. I got it for DVD when I was like 18 from my uncle. And my uncle, I love my uncle. We were closer when I was kids, but being an adult or a teenager, we weren't that close. And he goes, I didn't see this, but I heard it was really good, so I bought you this. And I opened it and I'm like, oh, okay. And I wasn't excited to watch it, but I decided to watch it that night for my birthday. And I called him after like the first 10 minutes, after the opening scene where they showed the opening credits, and I called him. I'm like, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. I love this movie so much. And it's going to be released back into Dolby. Probably should have wrote down the date. It's in August. August 29th. Yeah, so you know I'll be there. You should be there too. Inside Out 2 is now the biggest animated film ever. Boy the Heron will be on Max September 6th. There is a new Hulu Max Disney Plus bundle. I just want to tell you the price points. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about doing it. The only reason I don't want to do it is because, it's the perfect time for me to do it. Because I do yearly subscription, but, and my yearly is coming up in September. So this would be a perfect time. They don't have yearly available yet, but they do have with ads and with no ads. And I just really want to do no ads because ads suck. But I get Hulu and Disney Plus for free through Verizon. But Hulu's with ads, and I fucking hate it. So do I want to just bite the bullet and spend $30 a month? I don't know. I have to do the math on this. And also, I don't know if the Max is in 4K. Full HD video resolution on Max. But does that mean it's the 4K? I'll have to look that up. Anyways, the price points is $16.99 a month with ads or $29.99 a month with ads. That's an excellent fucking deal. Everyone should do that if they don't have Verizon or if they really hate ads. But do it. Disney Plus it's not the best. If you have kids, it's perfect. Hulu is probably the best amongst the regular crowd of people. But for me, I don't watch. Now, because of fucking you guys, I watch a lot of contemporary shit. But if you want to watch contemporary TV, like things that are on Fox right now, things that are on this right now or that right now, Hulu is the place to go. But Max, that's my jam. And if you like Discovery and shit, Max should also be your jam. Vought Rising is a twisted murder mystery about the origins of Vought from The Boys in the 1950s, the early exploits of Soldier Boy, and the diabolical maneuvers of a soup known to fans as Stormfront, who was then going by the name Clara Vought. We cannot wait to blow your minds, trouble your souls with the salacious grisly saga drenched in blood and Compound V, said someone at Comic-Con. So The Boys is getting a prequel series. That's about it for that. I'm excited. I want to say I'm skeptical, but I love Aya Cash and Jensen Ackles seems cool. So yeah, sure, I'm down. Not a big Doctor Who guy, but they are doing a spin-off Doctor Who series with Gugu Mbatha Raw. Can't pronounce her name very well, but I fucking love her. She's from Loki season 2 or 3. What was the last season? Whatever the last season was. The show's called The War Between the Land and the Sea. It co-stars Russell Tovey. I'm not going to read what it's about because I don't know Doctor Who. Justin Simien and Tawny Newsome will star and co-write in a new Star Trek live-action comedy series brought to you by Alex Kurtzman. I love Tawny Newsome, so I'm pretty excited. I don't follow Star Trek, but I really want to. It's a fucking huge universe, though, so I just thought it was cool to share that they're making a live-action comedy series. Silo Season 2, Friday, November 15th. I'm pretty excited about this. I know I complained a little bit about Season 1, but I told you guys I was more excited for Season 2. I'm very excited. If you haven't tried it yet, check it out. The first season on Apple TV Plus right now. Big Dexter news. We already know that the original Sin prequel series set in 1991 is 10 episodes long and is coming to us soon. But also, they're doing another show called Dexter Resurrection with Michael C. Hall. They didn't give us any other information. Here's my guess. They did reveal, and you can watch the trailer, which I think is a fake opening. It better be a fake opening of Dexter Original Sin. And they revealed that Michael C. Hall will be playing inner voice Dexter, which is an excellent idea. But I think that Dexter Resurrection is going to be a continuation off of New Blood. It will star his son, and we will see Michael C. Hall as Dexter's son's dark passenger, Dexter. I think that'd be a good idea. Next. Just don't bring him back to life. Just let him fucking die. What's this? I don't know what's going on here. Jordan Peele is rebooting Scare Tactics for USA. I was wondering why Tracy Jordan was in there. Tracy Morgan. I get confused. They're both the same character. But that's because he hosted either 1 or 2 Scare Tactics ago. But Jordan Peele is bringing it back. Trailers to look out for are Alien Romulus. They got a new trailer. Chaos. I'm excited for the show. Day of the Jackal with Lashana Lynch and Eddie Redmayne. The Wasp with... I can't remember their names. I'm just going to keep going. Rob Peace, which looks like a good show. Bad Monkey with Vince Vaughn. Mr. Throwback with fucking Steph Curry playing himself. I don't think this show is going to do well, but it's got a good premise. It's mockumentary style. And I really, really like that guy. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, guys. I'm very ill prepared. The fuck is his name? Adam Paley. I do like Adam Paley a lot, but I don't think this show's going to last more than the season. Steph Curry doesn't look like he's good at acting in it, but I think it's I don't know. It might be a good idea. And The Frog, which is, just check out the trailer for The Frog TV series 2024. It's a foreign show, but I'm down. I say it's foreign like it's a negative connotation, but it's different, which is what I mean. Next. Regular programming wise, Lady in the Lake. Still like the show. It's a miniseries with Natalie Portman and Moses Ingram. I like it. It's poorly rated online, but I think it's a well-made mystery. And I just love the juxtaposition of these two women's lives in 1966. You can check out new episodes on Apple TV Plus Fridays. House of the Dragon. Every time I'm gonna quit this show, it does something really fucking cool, and I decide to keep watching it. It's just so boring, but it's got such great action and great dragon scenes, and it's got good storytelling. It's just really fucking boring, dude. It's so boring. Game of Thrones is so much better, but the dragon scenes in this, oh my god, this last episode was so good. A lot of scenes were good anyway. And I want to get back to that new relationship that we just found out about. What happened to that? Presumed Innocent. I'm done with it. I'm finally done. I didn't see that ending coming. I didn't. I'm shocked that I didn't. I'm usually good at like guessing every possible outcome. That way I'm not surprised. But I'm glad that I didn't try that so hard with this show. Because it seemed pretty obvious. Because I was like, why does this person do this so often? And I can't go into details without ruining it. I got to start another live PopCorn Poppin where I go over spoilers of certain things. But I won't spoil whether the person in question did it or if it was someone else. But I was surprised. They get you twice. They do a good job. And you can watch the whole thing on Apple TV Plus right now. Honorable mentions of things that came out that I did not see that you may want to see are The Fabulous Four in theaters right now. Dee Dee, which is in theaters right now. Humane, which is on Shudder. Futurama, which brought back their newest season on Hulu. Time Bandits, which started on Apple TV Plus with new episodes on Wednesdays, and Tokyo Swindlers with their season on Netflix right now. Here's what, whoops. I didn't do that in great order. All right, here's what's coming out this week that we'll be talking about next week. Trap with Josh Hartnett, the M. Night Shyamalan thriller that looks really fucking good about I don't want to tell you what it's about. I'll tell you it's about a man who takes his, even though you're going to know what it's about because everyone's going to be talking about it. Everyone is talking about it. A very nice seeming father takes his daughter out to a concert, like a Taylor Swift-esque concert. Seems like the nicest guy in the world. That's it. That's all I'll tell you. It looks really good. And a one-day movie. I love one-day movies. I'm so excited. This is in theaters Thursday. Harold and the Purple Crayon for you and the kiddos at home. Inside of his book, adventurous Harold can make anything come to life simply by drawing it. After he grows up and draws himself off the book's pages and into the physical world, Harold finds he has lots to learn about real life. This looks fun for kids and families. I looked at the trailer and I thought, yeah, this could be all right. I'm not going to see it though. Again, Trapped, that's what you should go see. That's what I want to see. I really want to see Trapped. I'm very excited about it. I think it'll be popping as long as they don't try a twist. Don't do a twist, M. Night. The main plot itself is twisty enough. Just ride that wave to completion. Also in theaters that I want to see, but I don't think I have time. I think I only have time for one. Is Coup, about a mischievous cook leads an uprising against a wealthy family on Seaside Estate, a devious class war comedy starring Peter Sarsgaard and Billy Magnuson, which, by the way, Presumed Innocent stars Jake Gyllenhaal and Peter Sarsgaard. Peter Sarsgaard is married to Maggie Gyllenhaal, who's sister of Jake Gyllenhaal. So I thought it was cool that you had brothers-in-law or brother-in-law versus brother-in-law in Presumed Innocent. Now you got Peter Sarsgaard, who doesn't do comedy very often, in an interesting comedy. Next. I know I've talked about these movies a lot, but I will only talk about them one more time because the long-awaited director's cut of the Rebel Moon films will be hitting Netflix on Friday. I will have them on in the background for sure, because I know I told you my biggest complaint about these movies, besides them being very, very generic, was I really wish there was some violence in this. And we get it. We finally get it. So look out for that. Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie, a new SpongeBob movie coming out on Netflix Friday. Batman the Cape Crusader is going to be hitting Prime on Thursday. I don't think it's the whole season, but I'm really excited about this because I think Bruce Tim, what's his name? I always want to say it's Bruce Tim. It is Bruce Tim. Bruce Tim, I think, is involved with this one. But J.J. Abrams is too, and I like the shit that he puts out. Unstable is coming out with their new season on Netflix Thursday. I'm not very excited about it, but not that it's a bad show. It's just not for me. With Rob Lowe and his son. I don't watch documentaries, but if you are interested in Elizabeth Taylor, she's coming out with the new documentary is coming out about her life. Called Elizabeth Taylor, The Lost Tapes on Max Saturday. And on Netflix is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder on Netflix Thursday. Women in Blue is coming on Apple TV Plus Wednesday. I don't think I'll watch either of these, but I think this one looks like a good YA show. So I'm not going to watch it because it's YA. This looks good. I don't know. It follows 4 women who join Mexico's first female police force. They will defy the ultra-conservative norms of the time only to discover that their squad is a publicity stunt to distract the media from a brutal serial killer. I lied. I will be watching this because they investigate the serial killer on their own. At least that's what I gathered from the trailer. Apple TV Plus has been coming out with some good shit lately, show-wise, so I'm excited. So here's what I'm going to definitely watch this week. They wouldn't tell you. Nothing. I'm watching nothing. I'm going to watch Trap. I'm going to watch The Rebel Moons. I'm going to watch Batman Cape Crusader, and I'm probably going to watch Women in Blue. Thank you so much for watching. I know this is a long episode, but you're going to get a hopefully less than 10-minute video filled with spoilers about DeadPool and Wolverine. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe.